Hi, it's Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter, and welcome to Career Coach Office Hours. Tuesdays at noon Eastern, I spend some time answering questions from people about their job search because the skills needed to find a job are different from those needed to do a job. And thus, if you're someone who has questions about your search, this is a great place for you because I'm not aware of anyone else who's doing this as a live stream on LinkedIn and YouTube. I also am on Facebook as well at the Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter page. But in terms of live streaming, live Q&A about job search, I think I'm it. So I'm making myself available Tuesdays at noon Eastern to answer your questions about job search because people need help. It is a tough labor market out there. And if you want to learn more, by all means, go ahead and do so. But I believe that that's a mistake. It's a mistake because you're going to miss out on opportunities that, well, it's going to be costly and embarrassing for you. So I also want to encourage you to connect with me. So I'm Jeff Altman. You can visit my website, JobSearch.Community, where I've got free information for you on the homepage. And if you become an insider, you get access to all my video courses, books, and guides to job hunting. Plus, there's 6 tiers of options for access to me, so I can help you personally. If you're not sure which one to choose, pick the least expensive option of the ones that you're considering. If necessary, we can upgrade. But the long and the short of it is, we're here to help. I'm here to help you. And Kurt wants me to know that he's grabbing some lunch and feeding the cat. And he'll be right back. So, Kurt, it's been a long time. Nice to see you. And I look forward to having you join, perhaps ask a question. So again, JobSearch.Community has great resources to help people land their next role. I also want to mention that if we're not connected on LinkedIn, send a connection request. The address there is linkedin.com/IN/thebiggamehunter. Mention that you watch this so that I know that's been helpful to you. Once we're connected, your network is going to be a lot larger. So again, linkedin.com/IN/thebiggamehunter. So I normally start these shows by talking about something related to job search. And today I think I'm going to talk about the jobs report, which on the surface looked pretty good, but when you dug in under the hood, didn't look quite as good, especially for those of you who are what I call LinkedIn users. And I say that because most of the jobs are being created, with the exception of those in healthcare, which has the possibility of being decently paying jobs. Most of the jobs being created and reflected in the report are lower paying jobs. So we have government returning to the report. We also have healthcare, social services, leisure and hospitality, construction, retail, 6 major categories. There were also some information-related jobs, but not a lot of them. But it's good to see because, frankly, I'm assuming some of those are technology jobs, and a lot of tech jobs have disappeared over the last 2 years. Like, I believe the number I've seen from the federal government is 105,000 technology jobs are gone. Now, I'll also mention to you that there's a different place in the report that when you dig in, you find that 600,000 plus full-time jobs are gone, and that a lot of jobs that exist within the report are not full-time positions. So for those of you on LinkedIn, it remains a hard market for you. And it really requires expertise to land rather than hashing around and missing out on opportunities you could have otherwise won had you been better prepared, had you been more knowledgeable. again, I want to encourage you, come to JobSearch.Community. There's a lot there that's going to help you land that next job faster, plus me. So again, JobSearch.Community with a lot more there that will help you. So let's just see. Good. There was a little note here that said, can't post comments to some destinations. Okay, that's the way it goes. So I've received a couple of questions in advance because what I always tell people, because I'm here Tuesdays at noon Eastern to answer questions. So if you can't make it live, mark that you'll attend. Look for Career Coach office hours and the date. For example, next one will be June 18th, 2024. Mention that you won't be able to be there, but could you answer this question for me? And that's what a number of people have done. They've sent me questions in advance so I can help. And the first question is, do recruiters know what other companies I'm interviewing through any internal portal? So if I'm understanding correctly, it's about other companies, not within a specific firm. So let's say you work for a DEF company, and if there's a company by that name, that comment was just pulled out of the air, that name was just pulled out of the air, does not reflect any real company. So if you were interviewing with DEF company, they might see which departments you were interviewing with. That makes sense. But could DEF see through some other portal where else you were interviewing? No, there is privacy in that regard. So you don't have to worry about that. Focus on the important thing, which is making a firm fall in love with you, because otherwise you're not going to get hired. It's just, an unnecessary concern of yours that's distracting you from what's really important, which is impressing a firm, finding a firm that wants to hire you for a job that you want to do that'll lead to a career that you really want. We've got more questions. So why do agency recruiters want to know which other companies you're interviewing with? Oh, I love this. As many of you know, I worked as an agency recruiter for many years and filled a lot of positions. There's a good reason and a nefarious reason. The good reason is they don't want to duplicate anything that you might have already done for yourself or had done for you. And they don't want to submit you to a firm that you're already talking to or been submitted for. Well, why don't they just ask me, have you been submitted to such and such company? Well, the reason for that's really very simple. There are a lot of job hunters who immediately upon hearing of an employer that's trying to hire, submit their resume and cost that person a large fee. And you may not care, but for me, who got victimized a couple of times, hey, Jordan, who got victimized a couple of times by that, it cost me over $100,000 in fees. I don't know about you, but it's very painful to lose $100,000 in fees. Kurt, I'll be with you in just 1 second, okay? So they don't want to tell you where they're submitting you. They will ask you where you've been submitted to so far, where you've interviewed so far. Now, that's the positive reason. Well, I don't want to tell you. Well, have you interviewed with a company that begins with a S or a T? And that becomes a way that they can dance around you telling them specifically about a certain firm. That's the more honest one. Here's the nefarious one. They're trying to get job leads to compete with you to try and get that order so that they can earn a fee. That's the fact of it. Those are the two primary reasons that they're asking. One is to save themselves time. And the second one is to steal that information from you so that they can try and get a job to work on that they can fill a position with. So those are the two reasons why it happens. Now, Kurt writes, my challenge is I'm not finding what I want in my area. All the cyber jobs seem to be in New York City, which is a rough commute from Princeton. You are absolutely right. I'm working remotely now, but the role is lower level and pays much less. It's not a good fit. I've been looking since April of last year. I get phone screens and interviews, but no offers and zero feedback. I'm a senior security architect. What am I doing wrong? Kurt, I can only give you possibilities for what you might be doing wrong. I obviously can't know with certainty. But number one is you don't phone interview well, or you don't interview as well as you think you do, and you need to get better at it. I know I've got a video course at JobSearch.Community. It is behind the paywall that will teach you how to interview like an all-star. I also have video information about video interviewing as part of that, but the long and the short of it is you may not interview as well as you think you do. Remember, when firms try to hire, competence is only one thing they look for. They look for self-confidence, character, chemistry, maybe a little bit of charisma. Charismatic people always tend to do better than non-charismatics. That you care, that they can connect with you because they want to trust you. So my encouragement to you is you got to get better at interviewing, because I'm going to work with the assumption as you're competent at what you do and you had the skills that were requisite for the position. It was in your resume. They read your resume. What's missing? And better interviewing is the obvious answer. So I get phone screens and interviews, but no offers and zero feedback. They tend not to give feedback because they don't want to embarrass you or themselves. They don't want to get into arguments. So the phone screens, I'm going to work with the assumption of phone screens are basically the company recruiter who's basically there with their checkbox. Have you done this? Have you done that? Have you done this? Tell me about what you've done with this, what you've done with that. You know, it's real basic stuff. If it's with a hiring manager, they're going into a little bit more depth. And what I'm seeing is you're getting interviews, which I'm assuming are either video or in person. That's good stuff. But maybe you're talking about what you've done and not talking about what you've done that matters to them, which is different. Also, when I think in terms of architecture, I think in terms of building new. And the market, and I haven't looked at the security market in a while, so I'm speaking out of my derriere when I say this. Perhaps in a slowing economy, they're not building new security solutions. They're going with what they have and not going larger scale. So those are a couple of possible reasons why you may be wrestling with landing something. And I'd love to help you. I hope to see you at JobSearch.Community. There's free information on the homepage, including some of my things about elevator pitches, which are it's a nice recommendation, completely free. Download it, work with it, work on your own pitch, because networking is what's filling positions these days, not applying to things. So it's good that you're getting interviews, but you're not getting asked to get married. And that's telling me that you're not interviewing as well as you think you are. If there's more, thank you. And Kurt is thanking me for the critique. You're welcome. It's what I'm here to do. And I'll again mention to folks, if you've got a question about job search, put it into chat so I can answer it live. Also, JobSearch.Community. I've got free stuff on the homepage. A little PDF is about diagnosing your job search problems. There's one on elevator pitches, some basic stuff about resume writing called No BS Resume Advice. I think I've got 6 files there that you can download that will help you, and I'm here to serve you. So again, JobSearch.Community. Now, I've got more questions. Bear with me for a second so I can bring up the next one, because I like to copy and paste these and put them into chat so I can answer things live. Okay. So this is, what's the most effective way to submit a job application? Should I email a PDF version of my cover letter and resume or submit an online application? Neither. The most effective thing to do is to get recommended from someone, so that they're basically walking your document over to a hiring manager, or they're contacting HR on your behalf and saying, I know someone. Jordan, I'll be with you in 1 second. Sorry. So the idea is cutting the line and getting to the front is the best way, or using what's nicknamed as the third door. And the third door is, if you think of the old nightclub option, there's the front door where the bouncer is, and the guys with the list of VIPs to let in. That's a good way. The second way is the back door, where you sneak in. And the side door, the third door, is the one that's down the alley where there's a door that's unlit and you can pound on it and someone will let you in. The third door is often the best way. It's the creative door that's going to let you in. It's the story. I don't know if you folks know the story of Steven Spielberg and how he got his start as a teenager in the movie industry. But what he did is, as a teenager, is he rode a bus onto the Universal lot. I think it was Universal. And he hopped off the bus, found a studio where no one was there, and he started working on a film. And the result was, he would do this, and eventually he got to wearing his father's suit and carry a briefcase and start working on a film. So if you look at the name of, I'm drawing a blank on the name of Spielberg's company, but that was the name of his first movie. I know it begins with an A. I'm drawing a blank on what its name is, but the long and the short of it is, he found a side door. Eventually, he got discovered, and someone said, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm kind of working on a film. Can I see it?" And the guy who saw it loved it. Send it to the head of the studio saying, "We got to sign this guy." So, finding a third door is a better way. Now, coming back to the core question, what's the most effective way to submit a job application? Should I email a PDF of my cover letter and resume or submit an online application? I still say the answer is neither. At a minimum, you should network your way in. The most recent statistic I've seen, which I saw this morning, was 8% of jobs are filled through applicant tracking systems by applying for jobs. 8%. What you're doing is fishing in a small pond. Find a better way to get access than just simply applying or emailing a PDF of a resume and cover letter, or sending it through an applicant tracking system, which you've heard the expression, the black hole. It's called the black hole for a reason. Things go in and never come out. So, neither is particularly effective. Follow directions of what they tell you to do, but ideally you want to cut the line and get to the front. And neither of these ways, you're being a compliant, docile slave when you do stuff like this. Coming to Jordan, what's the best way to reach out for more clients to help manage their social media account? I don't know. I'm a job search guy. I help people find jobs, not clients to serve. I think one of the best ways is recommendations. Be recommended by a previous client. Sometimes it's offering people a trial. Sometimes it's pulling them in with free information that helps them that gives them a sense of who you are and what you do and what you can do for them. There's a million different gimmicks. Go on YouTube. You can find out, doing a search for how to find more clients to manage their social media. You can do that. You can also use AI to ask it a question. You give me 25 different ways to get clients to serve and manage their social media accounts. There's all sorts of different ways. Think creatively. Think in terms of what attracts your ideal customer who's willing to pay, because I don't want you working for free. Do things that will help you land your next client and make sure that they're reaching out to you for business. That can take time. It's not a one and done. I have one post and lo and behold, it's all good. Everyone wants to hire me. If you think about TV and commercials, they repeat. And Jordan is saying, my bad, still a beginner in this. No, it's okay. If you think about TV commercials, they repeat them. You see them countless times before you actually buy something. They have to get mind share so that you start thinking of that product, you start thinking of that service, and they want to choose you. So the repetition is important. It's why I'm on every week. It's why I speak to different groups so people get a sense of me and what I'm capable of helping them with. Okay? Again, if you've got a question about your job search, put it into chat so I can answer it live. Also, come over to JobSearch.Community where I've got video courses, books, and guides to help you. Some are free. Most of them are available as part of a membership at the site. Also, connect with me on LinkedIn at linkedin.com/IN/thebiggamehunter. I've got more for you. How can you inform an interviewer that you have researched their LinkedIn profile and other websites before their interview? There's an old expression that says, show, don't tell. So it's not like you should sit there and go, I looked at your LinkedIn profile. They all have paid accounts. They can see who's looked at their LinkedIn profile and other websites before the interview. Why are they supposed to care that you did that? So telling them that doesn't really help you. Showing that you've done it by synthesizing information that you've learned about the firm, about the project team, anything that's publicly available, that does help you. So the goal should be to show them through your answers to questions that you've done some homework. So with the interviewer, as you're talking with them, you can say something along the lines of, hey, you worked for so-and-so before this. You know what I'm talking about. If the two of you happen to have worked at the same previous organization, an off-the-cuff remark like that works very well. And that becomes a way that you can disclose. Or in the course of researching a project, you can say something to the effect of, from what I understand from reading online, some of the hiccups that are going on this project relate to such and such and such and such. Let me tell you what I've done along those lines. Maybe that can be useful to you. Not just what you say. It's not just what you say that matters. It's how you say it in a way that winds up being interesting to an interviewer. So I'm back at the idea of why does it matter to them? Well, it really never will matter to them. What will matter to them is how you work that into a story or an explanation for them so that they understand what you're capable of. Okay? Is it appropriate to ask a hiring manager if they have any questions for you after an interview? One of the things I tell people to ask at the end of an interview, and this is the final question when they say, so do you have any questions for us? I have like a series of questions. That's part of that interview course I mentioned earlier. But the question I suggest people ask is there anything that you've heard or not heard that makes you question whether I'm qualified to do this job? And I say heard or not heard because sometimes interviewers aren't particularly skillful and they ask a question that suggests one thing when they meant something different. I didn't really hear you talk a lot about fill in the blank. Oh, when you asked me about this, you really wanted me to talk about this. Can I tell you what I've done along those lines? Yeah. The first time I started to tell people to ask that question, there were two guys who asked it and they followed up in the way that I suggested. And I just illustrated there. They both got invited back. One was hired, one got turned down on the second round. But they never would have been invited back had they not asked that question. So yes, to me it is appropriate, but you phrase it as, is there anything that you've heard or not heard that makes you question whether I'm qualified to do this job? And what that's going to do is open some interesting avenues for them, and recognize that they may not tell you the truth. They may not tell you the truth if you just ask them, am I rejected for this job? Oh, no, because they don't want to get into arguments. So the long and the short of it is asking my question works very well. It's worked very well for many years. People have reported back that when they ask the question in the way that I tell them to ask the question, sometimes they'll go, no one's ever asked me that before. It's great. And it works very, very well. Okay. Let's see now. I think I've got more. Yeah. Do recruiters at different companies talk about candidates? Yeah. Yeah. I spoke to this one guy. Oh, God, what an idiot. That's one typical conversation. Where they make fun. What was their name? You don't want to be that person that they have the idiot conversation about. So, yes, it does happen in social situations. It's not like they've got a message board where they're sharing information about candidates, but they may be part of a networking group or a professional organization where they share information with one another, and from that they they have a few laughs about someone. Not, it's, we found this great guy. I think they're terrific. Let me tell you exactly who they are. Ooh. Sometimes recruiters who work together at previous organizations might share information with one another. That happens too. But the long and the short of it is, yeah, they do talk to one another. They don't go out of their way to do it. They normally stumble into situations where it becomes part of the conversation. Here's the last question for today before I finish up, and that is, after the final interview, if the hiring manager said he will update me after 2 weeks, what does that mean? The answer is he's going to let you know after 2 weeks what next steps are going to be. That's not a commitment that they're going to hire you or reject you. They're just going to get back to you after 2 weeks. Now, let me go an extra layer that says they're interviewing more people, and they want to figure out who they're going to choose for another round where you might meet someone else. But they're talking to other people at this point. That's what they're telling you. 2 weeks, it could go longer. They do change their mind about these things, but they're looking at 2 weeks to make a decision as to whether to bring you back for another round. That's how I see it. So I hope you found today helpful. I'm Jeff Altman. Visit my website, JobSearch.Community, where I've got free video courses, books, and guides to help you. Plus, if you become an insider, you get access to coaching from me and all my video courses, books, and guides, and there are a lot of them. There's a full list of them on the homepage. It'll give you a sense of how I can help, and more are going to be on the site very soon. So again, that's JobSearch.Community. I'm also going to remind you to connect with me on LinkedIn at linkedin.com/IN/thebiggamehunter. I hope you have a terrific day, and most importantly, be great. Take care.